Happy Wednesday morning. Welcome to today's edition of Garage Devotionals. So today we're going to talk about being consumer or producer. Which one are you? So consumer obviously is someone who buys or gets and consumes a product or service or a relationship. And a producer is someone who produces that good, that service, or that relationship. And I really think today we really need to focus on how we work on our relationships, especially in today's time where we're very isolated with the coronavirus and everything going on in the world. I feel very much that we are pushing others away or being forced to push others away. Like we have our families, like obviously I have my wife and my children and the people I work with, which is really only one person. And the customers I see every day, but our relationships outside of that have really been marginalized in a lot of ways. And so as we consume relationships, we have two options. We can either be the giver or we can be the getter. And I worry with social media and our isolation and the things that are going on in this world, we're moving more and more into what that relationship can get me, not what I can give to that relationship. Now, of course, we can talk about consumers as in this constant state of buying or getting and using and never stopping. And consuming is not necessarily a bad thing. Obviously, we all have to consume air, food, gas, vehicles, houses, all these things. We have needs. And we have to consume to get those needs fulfilled. But what I'm talking about is that extra consumerism, that way above maybe what we should be doing. And we are, at my house, we're very guilty of this. So take, for example, you get a big raise, you get a promotion, you get a new job. You're making a lot more money. What most people do is instead of using that to give, we use that to get. You'll see people, they live at a certain level of savings or extra or whatever you want to call it, and they get that big promotion or raise or whatever, and instead of giving or saving more, they use that money to get more. So they start to an extra level of consumerism. Couple of things. When we get our consumer producer out of balance, we really need to take a look at what's causing that. We don't want to be people users. We want to be in balance with our relationships. And a couple of things, when we realize that we're outside of that balance, when we've become that person that only uses people and relationships to get stuff for ourselves. And I think we turn God into like the universal slot machine, and we use that relationship to get stuff for ourselves as well. And that's not a good thing. That's not what God is. But when we get to that point, when we realize that's what we've done, there's a few things we can do. We can ask God for forgiveness and a fresh start. You know, God, I know I've turned you into that universal slot machine, and I'm sorry. God, I pray that you give me a fresh start. Maybe we need to ask someone for forgiveness and a fresh start. Hey, I know I've been using you to get this, and I really haven't been putting much into this relationship. I'm sorry. Can we start over? Sometimes we need to put it into a situation or a relationship or a business deal because we know that we realize that it's very much about me and not about that relationship. We need to create some accountability. We need to put someone or someones in our lives that will tell us, man, you're really not doing a very good job of this. Or you're really being super selfish with this. I think that's probably the thing that I fall down in the most, is just having that accountability. When I don't, I can be pretty selfish. We got to change the way we make decisions. Sometimes we need to learn to say no to something because we know that it's bad for us or it's bad for that person. Sometimes we need to learn how to say yes to some things because we know it's good for us or it's good for that person. And we need to ask God for wisdom. So find a way to produce something valuable and give something away. So it's not just about producing for the sake of production. It's about producing with the end goal of glorifying God and creating more for His kingdom. Not that He needs you, but He wants to use you. So if we look at John chapter 15, verses 1 through 5, I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, He takes away, and every branch that does bear fruit, He prunes, that it may bear more fruit. Already you are clean because of the word that I have spoken to you. Abide in me, and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit by itself, unless it abides in the vine, neither can you, unless you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me, and I in him, he is that bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. Thanks, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.